Howdy, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Hear Me Out Pitch. I'm Willem.
And I'm Tim.
And I don't know why I started going with it. Double feature this week. Like I said, we recorded our episode yesterday about, our little Legend of Zelda rip-off idea. Don't care. Thought it was fun. Definitely need to go into that more. I've been thinking about it all day. But today we... it wasn't as bad as I thought, Tim. I thought we were going to be mortified. Was it good?
No. I will admit I was told that this movie was going to be absolutely abysmal, and several people were telling me this is the worst movie that has ever been written, and a lot of other people were saying it's the worst movie that has come out in the last decade.
We were not in theaters, though.
We weren't.
We watched it in my apartment.
And we had our expectations set low.
And we had our phones, and we popcorn, and I walked around a few times. So, but I will admit, I was on my phone less for this movie than I was for, Babylon AD.
Yep.
Which is crazy to me. So I still hold on to it that Babylon AD is the worst movie we did.
Oh, I agree 100%.
Just because the premise was so intriguing, guys. I will admit that. But just when it's the last 20 minutes and crap is finally happening. Oh.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, well, I want to ask what thoughts right off the bat.
I think we said Babylon AD was like a solid 2 out of 10. Right?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I'd put this at like a 4.5.
4.5. 4.5.
Maybe 5 if I'm feeling generous.
And we're talking about the whole movie as a whole.
Yes.
Story-wise, I could say D+, C-. You're borderline maybe getting away with a passing grade. Maybe if you're one of my favorite students type of thing.
Yeah, I would probably say C-.
C-.
It was...
I can honestly pass
passable.
It was passable. It was passable, but just...
I had a few... I had a couple issues. A couple big issues. There were a few plot holes, and there were a few things that just made absolute zero sense. But as a whole, it wasn't Babylon AD.
As a whole, it was not Babylon AD. And I will admit, there were a few scenes that I liked. I liked a few scenes. I was surprised that I was actually like, oh, I like the chemistry between all the actors. I cannot remember all 3 girls' names. I feel terrible.
I don't remember either.
I know Cassie Webb as the original character.
There was Maddie,
Anya,
Julia, and Anya.
Okay, Maddie, Julia, and Anya.
Yes, and then Cassie and Ezekiel. I did not care much for Ezekiel, the actor for Ezekiel.
Oh, yeah.
Probably my biggest issue with the movie was Ezekiel as a whole. His character was interesting, but the actor they chose, I don't know what was going on, but early on in the movie there was a lot of dubbing, and it was more noticeable than an anime.
It was terrible.
If you've ever watched an anime that's been dubbed,
or a movie that's from a different language, other than English,
and you watch it dubbed, meaning it's the original movie, they just have taken voice actors to go over the voices. It was bad. It was
really bad, and that does distract us, and that does kind of ruin the movie. So I think I want to take away all the flaws of this movie, the CGI. Just want to get to the nitty. I love the character Ezekiel. I wanted to go. I was pretty excited.
He's an interesting character. The way they executed his character in the movie kind of sucked.
So how would you summarize this movie in 2 to 3 minutes? A quick summary for everyone.
Quick summary?
Or do you want me to do it?
Basically, a woman is pregnant with a sick child. And so to find a cure for what's going on with her baby, she goes to the Amazon rainforest to find a spider that's super rare, that basically gives supernatural abilities. She finds it. The guy that she's traveling with, Ezekiel, ends up killing her to get the spider. We don't learn why he's after the spider at any point. And she ends up giving birth in a magical pool of water. It's not actually magical, but there's a tribe of spider people in the Amazon, and they save her, and she gives birth to Cassie, who ends up becoming Madame Web. She's the main character of the story, and we never learn how she was put into the foster care system or anything. We don't learn anything
How
between.
she went from Peru to.
We learn nothing from her birth in the Amazon rainforest in Peru to her becoming a paramedic. She works as a paramedic with Peter Parker's Uncle Ben before Peter Parker's born. Peter Parker is born at the end of the movie. And yeah, basically Cassie starts having these visions of the future, and she starts freaking out, and Ezekiel he has visions in his dreams, and he sees every night the three girls that end up killing him in the future, and so he goes and hunts them down because he doesn't want to die, and turns out they're just teenagers, and Cassie sees all of it and in her visions, and sees Ezekiel attacking the three girls, and so she goes out and she basically kidnaps the three girls, and nobody sees Ezekiel attack them, and so Cassie is framed, and they go on the run.
It kind of goes on a crazy.
It's crazy.
They just go on a bunch of more adventures. There's a few instances of Ezekiel attacking. Ben at one point takes care of the girls.
Cassie goes to Peru to figure out what the frick is going on, and I
like this scene.
I did like.
That was
Cassie
probably the
going
best
to Peru
part
is
of the
probably
whole
my
movie.
favorite part.
Like, I was like, okay. Well, you lived in a region.
I
very
lived
close.
just a couple 100 miles south of that.
So it probably was like, aw. Probably hit some good spots. But no, it was good. And her learning that her mother wanted to see her, who wanted to save her from her, she had some
neurodivergent disease that was going to kill her.
Or just at least give her a short life, and then the spider would help her. And I just thought it was cute, and I know, and just the web connecting them, and they had a moment of them hugging.
That was a very sweet moment.
It was very sweet, and I thought it was very well done. I thought, and then the ending with just them going to the fireworks shop and her dodging all it. In the end, they all work together. It's the friends we made along the way, and they defeat Ezekiel because he had the whole self-fulfilling prophecy. He tried to, what does Master Oogway say? One who tries to avoid his destiny is often finds it. He often finds it. So that sort of thing. Cassie gets blind
and becomes Madame Web.
And blah, blah, blah. That's it. It's the friends we made along the way sort of things. And it's...
All right, episode's over. Let's go.
Okay, that's it.
I'm going home. No.
I think... You guys know I'm a Spider-Man nut. And I definitely have been going crazy with writing it. I would definitely incorporate Andrew Garfield's universe. I feel like Tobey's is... I feel like if Sony would just drop Andrew Garfield, just do it ASAP, we could have had so many good runs. They could have had him at the same time as, especially, well, Foresight's 2020. What is it? No, hindsight's 2020. Whatever.
Hindsight's 2020.
So, but I think I would have made it that Peter Parker would have been born at this time. I would have had him born because if it were running on the base of the Andrew Garfield movies, I would have had Andrew born in 93. 94, 95-ish. He's around my age. in the movies because I graduated around the same year he did, and I would have had it still take place in 2003. I would have had the beginning not dubbed crappily, not done anything like that, but I would have added. I think I would have shown, like, hinted at the baby being the issue. I wouldn't have made it like a big reveal, but I would have made it more, I don't know, it's like, do we want it to know that the audience knows, or that ruin the feel of the reveal later on? Because what I'm thinking of is that we see Cassandra, Cassie's mom. Not Cassandra.
Not Cassandra.
Crap. She had
Starts with a
name.
C.
She had a really awesome name.
Give me
a second.
Constance.
Oh, that's even so much better. I think I would have wanted the beginning of this movie to take place with Constance in the hospital in 1993. Constance in the hospital, Constance learning all this stuff. And what I would have implied is, it shows her in an apartment of some sort, shows her like throwing stuff, aching, like having a, spasm from the baby, feel it kick, something, and she's just crying, holding her stomach, and we kind of cut there. Just cut there, shows her in the Amazon with Ezekiel, and we have a very similar thing happen. I don't think I would implement that the spider people are still around.
I would have that one guy be the last one.
Mm-hmm. Or at least they were. My reasoning is I think that I would want them to be, there's either one more guy and he takes Cassandra back. I don't know. Like, and I would definitely explain that this village in Peru told about her mother. They probably imply, my reasoning is this doctor dies during childbirth in Peru. America takes care of her. And because she was a scientist, they were like foster care, whatever. Mwah. Cuts to it. It's not like, mwah. I know it's a mwah. Anyway, I don't know. I think I would want him to be, I think that's fine with him being the last one of these people. Maybe. Because my thing is I would want Ezekiel to be wanting to be like these people. He heard about it. And because that's kind of what happens in the comics.
I need to know why. It never explains why Ezekiel was going after the spiders.
He just, in the comics, he was doing an occult thing of trying to be stronger and just do it as a business sort of thing. He wanted to be strong, and due to his strength, he built an empire. He's kind of like a mini kingpin in a way. He actually mentors Peter later on, and he kind of he figures out who he is due to their like spider sense that they both can have. It's implied that the spider, I'm guessing that it's implied that the spider that bites them is what bites Peter someday. I have no idea. I'm trying to make this as smooth as possible with Andrew's World, because in Andrew's World, they splice these spiders. They made these super spiders. They make these weird, very, in my opinion, very creepy spiders.
It could be that the reason they were trying to splice them is because they wanted to create these mythical spiders.
Maybe this was one of the last. Maybe Ezekiel went out and made them extinct. Kind of like a Killmonger sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I could really see him doing that. Burns the forest. Like, it ends up with a big fire. You see him set the fire after he shoots all of the other people and shoots Cassandra. It shows this last of the, what were they, just the Iranhas come and save her. And
the Iranians.
I would have her just be born in a hospital, but he sneaks one of the spiders in somehow, like while he's carrying her back. She bites Cassandra because that's what she wanted. Mm-hmm. But I would have been, anyway, I don't know. So Peter is born. He would be about 8, the same age I was in 2003, which was so weird seeing this. This isn't like watching the Fantastic Four movie made in 2004. This was weird seeing it as like a historical piece. I was like, I'm getting Old Tim. Ooh.
Doing some math.
Math.
Quick maths.
Quick maths.
Quick maths.
What's the quick maths?
Iron Man 2
Yes.
occurs in 2010.
Yes.
In universe and out of universe.
Uh-huh.
At that point, Peter Parker is 7 years old. The Tom Holland version. I think what they were going for was that it was this is Tom Holland.
Yeah.
And that would make sense.
But yeah, it's Sony. But yeah, Sony's a part of it, but it's not part of it.
My guess is they were trying to make it be Tom Holland's.
I would change it to
Andrew. I agree with that.
Richard is already gone. We don't know what happened, and I will connect it to. I can connect it to my. I need to do mine. I need to do my sequels. Maybe this will finally start it coming. This will be like a little prequel to my third.
If you guys don't remember or didn't.
If you don't
listen
know
to our episodes, I think it was 7 and 8, or
Yeah.
6 and 7.
6 and 7, two of the earliest ones.
Two of the earliest, about a year ago.
Yeah.
About a year ago. Almost over a year ago, I think. Willem, after I did my beginnings of my rework of Star Wars, episode 7, the next episodes, Willem did Spider-Man.
I did The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I did my own rendition. The first movie I made canon. I'm not going to change that. It was simple and sweet. You don't need it to really change. I liked it. It was a simple Spider-Man movie. We just didn't like it because we were still so used to Tobey.
Yeah.
Second one, though, definitely needed some changes. So I came up with that, and I have an idea for a third and fourth. But this will be kind of intermingling with it. So in my idea, in 2003, Peter is alive. Peter is around, and we'll see him at the end when we see Ben visit Cassie in the hospital. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Something like that. And he'll be really sad because
Uncle Ben is looking after him.
Because Richard is already gone.
And now Mary is gone.
So it's really sad to think and it kind of stinks because I know that the actor, and I would probably make Ben a little older then, because the Ben Parker in that movie is Charlie Sheen's father, so it would definitely be like her older partner in the EMS, and I would have it that she saves Ben in a car accident sort of thing, and that'd be cute. But I wouldn't ever have him interact with the girls. I don't want him to have any sort of...
No.
I just want him to be there in the beginning. I would say that maybe he shows up to the scene at the end.
But I think that's enough to tie it in to that universe.
Yeah.
I don't think we need anything else.
No. I think I would want Ezekiel to live. Like, it'd be hinted, and maybe I'll add him into the next one as someone who... No, we'll just make this fun. I want to incorporate it, but maybe that's adding too much. But for now, I'll add it just in case I can get these two characters in. Maybe I'll make it that Ezekiel is kind of tricking Peter into trying to stop Madam Web. But I think that simply would have made Ben... We would have appreciated Ben more. We would have seen an older Ben. It would have hit a little more. Especially, I imagine at the end of the movie when Ben and little Peter are visiting, and she's heard about Peter, and maybe she's even hung out. It's implied that she's hung out with Peter a few times. His adopted son, nephew. I can't imagine. You lose your brother, especially in the way I'm gonna make it. Ugh, and it's not good. And it happens in the comics. But it's just not, even in the second movie, it was terrible what happened to Richard and Mary.
Yeah.
Richard and Mary never get a happy life. It's really sad. Point being, I would really love to have a point where you see Ben and Peter reach out and touch her, and she's getting her powers, and she kind of cries a little bit because she knows what's going to happen. And I think I would not mind her telling them at that part, you know, kind of telling Ben, you know, with great power comes great responsibility in some way. I wouldn't mind that that's something that comes up, that she learns it from the spider people. I know that was, I kind of booed at it in the movie.
It was kind of cool. I thought it was cool because the way that he phrased it in the movie was, take, you know, you get responsibility, and with that, you know, comes great power. It's like you take the responsibility first and then you get the power, and that, I think, is a really fun, a really cool spin on it that I personally, I think that applies more into real life for us, because none of us are going to be bit by a radioactive spider and turn into Spider-Man, right? None of us are going to be granted that great power. Maybe not none of us, but it's very unlikely that we will be granted such great power.
But we are gifted great responsibilities.
We are as human beings. We have many great responsibilities, many of which involve parenthood or running a business or just being an employee, being a friend, even, like,
there's so many things.
Just existing, being a functional part of society is a great responsibility. And with that responsibility, if you pursue that responsibility and you pursue that responsibility well, then you will be granted power of some sort in some capacity most of the time. Whether that's the power to influence the next generations as a parent, or the power to run a company as a CEO or as a top tier employee, or, you know, as just a high functioning member of society with a lot of influence.
Okay, so we've kind of talked about the beginning and the end. So my question is, do you want to involve Maddie, Julia, and Anya?
I think so.
I wouldn't mind having older Spider women.
Yeah, here's my thought. I didn't hate the whole teenage Spider Girls thing that without powers. I didn't hate Cassie being kind of a mentor to them and a protector to them. What I disliked, the main things that I disliked were the pacing, and there were a few scenes that felt super clunky and rigid and not very well thought out. And there were a couple scenes that felt very, very CGI'd.
Oh yeah.
Probably the biggest one, in my opinion, that you can tell that it's the CGI, is the very end, the final fight, where Cassie's using her powers to see the future to defeat Ezekiel. And there's a lot of scenes where the timing and everything, it just felt wrong. I've spent some time, not a lot, but I've spent a little bit of time with animation and digital animation. And if you want to make something feel seamless and realistic, you have to get the physics of what you're doing correct. I used to play around in high school. I would use different simple coding softwares, but we had to figure out gravity. And we had to set gravity to a specific number that we had to determine based on what we were building. I was building a game that you were a person on Earth, and so I had to figure out in this coding software how to work Earth gravity into an animation. And the timing was like 0.01% of a second off, it would feel too fast or too slow. And I think in that final fight scene, that was a big issue. Is I noticed that the gravity, it felt like gravity was a lot harder. You know, people fell faster, things fell faster. There's a part where, you know, the very end of Ezekiel's life, he falls as a part of the little metal boardwalk collapses, and that boardwalk swings down like someone is swinging a hammer down. Like it is so fast. It didn't feel like it had real physics to it. It felt forced. And he fell more like a rag doll than an actual human being, which I understand that falling, you know, sometimes you flail about, but it was like he had no life to him as he was falling. And then there was the giant letter P that fell and crushed him, and that fell way too fast. And I'm curious if they just took that section, they're like, it's too fast, let's speed it up by 0.1% or whatever. That was I
didn't even notice it, so that tells you how much that bugged him.
I had a big issue with that.
I think my biggest issue was Ezekiel had a suit, and I'm not talking about a fancy suit because that's actually what he wears.
The spider suit.
Yeah, the spider suit. No, I really would just make it that going back to the how do you say it?
Las arañas.
Las arañas.
The spiders in Spanish.
I really would make it that that he is the last one. I would not have Ezekiel have the venom touch, whatever he was doing. And no, I'm not talking about Miles Morales venom sting. Mm-hmm. No suit for Ezekiel. He was barefoot and in a suit, funny enough, in the comics. And he did wear that a bunch in the movie, and I would have just had him keep that. I think his lady in the chair was weird. It was very random. It was,
but at the same time, and for that time period, a lot of the technology was...
If he's that rich, he probably could afford it all that.
I'm sure, but it felt too modern.
It did. It felt too modern.
The monitors they had felt like they almost looked as thin as my TV.
My computers, if you think about your typing class in elementary school.
We had the massive ones.
Really?
Yeah.
I felt like mine were always flat.
No, we had the big ones.
I guess I'll have to go back in time and see what computers I had. I can't do that, though. I don't know. I guess I can't imagine fat computers and fat TVs anymore. It's sad.
Mm-hmm. One other issue. Well,
yes.
Not the only other issue.
Not the only.
Another issue I had was the spider. Ezekiel got the spider that Cassie's mom found,
and it's still alive.
And what happened to it? What happened to it? What
they showed it in his apartment.
Yeah, we did. We saw it, but Ezekiel died, and the spider is, it's still there. What happens to the spider? What was the whole thing like? Ezekiel's vision essentially consisted of him finding his spider is missing, freaking out, and then the 3 teenage girls end up killing him in their spider suits. Another issue real quick. Every scene where the girls are dressed up as spider people just looked so...
When they were moving,
so middle school movie.
It was
thing. Middle school movie class project.
The best part was when they were standing still, and you could at least enjoy. The suits ideas were awesome because they were great. They were great. They were.
They look great. My issue with
I have a big crush on Sweeney Todd, so I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Not Sweeney Todd, Sydney Sweeney.
One of my big issues with superhero movies is superhero poses.
Superhero landings.
The superhero poses 9 times out of 10 are going to look forced, and they're going to look posed. you look at Iron Man, right? When he lands, he's doing it on purpose, but it looks like he's actually falling out of the sky, landing on one knee, bracing himself for impact. He
And also, he
stands
doesn't
up.
really know how to use that suit yet. But it does kind of help.
Same thing, like Black Widow in the older movies. A lot of the times when she lands in her classic pose and then she flips her hair and looks at the camera, it feels too forced for me. Like it's cool, but it feels.
I love how
forced
Deadpool made
and
fun of
fake.
it because Captain America does that same thing so much. He landed so many times, and you're like, Cap.
He does, and
You couldn't tuck and roll. You couldn't.
There's sometimes where it looks kind of natural, but most of the time it doesn't. It doesn't look natural.
That's
and it's
one of my favorite scenes in Deadpool. Superhero landing. It's gonna come. Yay! Superhero landing. Looks at the camera. That's really bad for your knees.
Yeah.
You need to watch the PG-13 version.
Anyway, my point being, my biggest acting issue with the movie was the superhero poses and all of that, because it just felt so forced and fake and bleh.
I want to implement the girls, but here's the main issue I'm having with Sony. You took Marvel's biggest character and you insist on trying to build stuff around it. Madam Web makes sense. She's older, she's been doing this for a long time, and finds Spider-Man eventually. Ezekiel also has been doing this and finds him eventually. They implemented it in such a way that it made sense. These three Spider-Women, they come after Peter. And I think it's fine if they're older, or at least you're hinting so much that it's... I wish they would have shown a vision of him. I honestly think the better thing would have been him going after Peter. I honestly think that could possibly be a better storyline. We have a Legend of Korra issue, and maybe we can still have the girls, and it shows them, or at least his only vision is he sees him being defeated by this figure. And I would make it, spoilers, I would make it a figure, because it's an alternate, it's a possible ending. I would make it a figure in a black Spider-Man costume. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he would figure out that it was Peter, but I think it would be cool. I don't know how we can figure that out, or at least, I don't know. I think that makes more sense than him having a random vision about three random women. Maybe does more. Maybe he is trying to learn with maybe he's doing a dark occult version of what the people of the Iran. I don't want to say it wrong. Iranians. Yeah, I can't roll my R's or my N's very well. But I think I would make it that maybe he's connecting to the web of life, which is something Madam Web connects to, and because she got bit at birth, she's connected to all of it. She's finally manifesting it. Baby Ezekiel's doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And he's getting a head start on her. I think that would make more sense than him. He is strong, not as strong as Peter. He's strong. He can run up walls. No spider webs, because technically none of the spider people have spider webs. They all make web shooters. And I would also have him, I think it would be better for him just to find out who it is, and he would use it'd be awesome though. Could you imagine that, she's like, maybe she thinks it's Ben at one point, because he's like trying to find out, he's like following a spider sense, and I know this sounds lame, but at least it's better than what we got.
I don't know. I'll be honest. I think if we separate this from Spider-Man, Peter Parker, I didn't hate.
So you vote connecting it with Tom Holland?
I think it's a fourth.
That's a new Spider-Man.
It's a new Spider-Man, completely different.
It's Timothy Chalamet.
Here's my thought.
Okay.
there were a lot of scenes that were just too long.
Diner. I was sick of the diner.
The diner.
Or at least they could have done it. Her spazzes with her going in and out of time.
I thought they were cool.
They were cool, and how would you do them better?
I would make it less spazzy and seizure-ish. A lot of movies now, the cameras, everybody likes to play around with camera angles and make them look cool and funny and all of that, and make the viewer feel like they're going through what the main character's going through. But I don't wanna feel like I'm about to have a seizure. I don't wanna feel like my soul is being ripped into a million pieces and twisted and stretched like Laffy Taffy.
A good safe time for you to switch camera angles is 7 to 8 seconds.
Yeah.
That's a good safe time. This was like a lot.
Every couple seconds.
For certain scenes.
It was a couple scenes. And there were some times where the fast camera angle change worked. And it kind of made sense. The diner, again, when she's in that vision going back to the diner, that didn't feel quite as seizure-y as the earlier ones.
Like the subway.
The subway or the medical emergency.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh. And I think maybe they did that on purpose to show how her powers were.
How she's starting to be able to gain control over it a little bit. Yeah, I think I don't know. All in all, I think cut a few seconds off of a few scenes, maybe a minute or two off of a couple other scenes. You could probably fairly easily shave off 20 minutes of just meh. Of just filler. And you'd still have a somewhat decent movie. I did take notes.
So would you have him fighting the girls, or what were you thinking?
I would have the main premise of the movie be the same, where he sees the vision of them killing him and he goes after them to prevent his death. I think instead of him seeing a vision of the girls killing him in his own apartment after stealing his pet spider, I would have him. Here's what I would do. He's partners with Oscorp. The spider is safe at Oscorp. He's seeing visions of him falling after these 3 spider women attack him. And it would end, he would die the same way he did. I thought honestly that final fight was cool, minus the crappy physics, the crappy CGI physics. What
if he just sees how he dies, but he just sees those 3 girls, like all of them hanging from the... What if the poses that they're showing, like the epic scene where it shows them all in their suits, what if that's the poses they're all like, because it shows all them hanging from a building that they knock them off of? Yeah. What if I'd probably do something with that. Play around with some poses. I would make the superhero poses feel more natural. It's difficult to do. I understand. I know. I've made videos with friends. I know how crappy acting can be and how hard it is to get body positioning just right. I get it. I get it. But you can spend more than 2 minutes on each pose to get it to look nice and to get it to feel a little more natural. Maybe, I think, I want to throw this out there, maybe he just sees how he dies and he just sees those 3 girls.
Maybe without, I think without
their costumes.
The costumes. He sees the 3 girls standing there, and maybe the visions of the girls are each girl is from a different part of the movie.
Yeah.
And so, 45 minutes in, we see
Maddie's part.
and we see, and he sees that, and he's like, and he kind of takes a step back, and they're able to run away, or maybe that's how Cassie's able to hit him with a car. A little bit later, when he's chasing them again, we get to Julia's part, and he sees her and decides to kind of back off because it's kind of hitting him like, I'm actually just following, I'm Master Oogwaying this crap.
Okay, no, I think that makes way more sense. So I still want to propose Andrew Garfield's timeline. He's still a kid. Have the beginning I tell you about, but his vision is just of those girls, and he doesn't know why. And
I think
he turns them.
If we are gonna have Peter Parker, ignore Peter Parker.
Yeah, no, exactly. I agree.
Completely. Have this be a separate story, because here's the thing.
You don't want the cute ending with a cute Peter?
Oh, I'm happy with that.
Okay, and that's fine.
In the meat of the movie, ignore
Oh,
Peter
exactly.
completely.
I agree. I think
you don't have to have Peter Parker in every movie that takes place in his world.
Hey, you're
Same
right.
with Morbius. Morbius is a good example. We decided it was an
Here's the thing.
okay movie,
It's-
and I think it worked.
It's hard to do these if you make every single one of them anti-hero, but I think the idea that these girls become heroes solely because of this vision, that would be funny.
Yeah.
They become heroes because this man had a vision, and he just Master Oogwayed it. He's like, I don't know who these girls are,
But I'm gonna kill them, 'cause they're gonna kill me.
The only reason they lived is because of Cassie, and Cassie interjects, and that would make more sense. And then at the end of the movie, we could then see them in their costumes as the...
And I think throughout the movie we can have them maybe gaining their powers just a little bit. Because I think Julia's power is it's the electricity thing, and part of the she connects to the web of life too.
I don't think so. I have no
remember.
idea. It was very weird.
It was very
It
weird.
just looked like they all used gadgets. That was it.
Yeah, and maybe that's what it is.
They're really
Maybe
just
they're-
like Charlie's Angels for Madam Web, and they are like that in the comics. She has a group of Spider Women, and they go out and do stuff. It is Cassandra Webb's Angels, Cassie's Angels.
We've seen in Spider-Verse, we see some characters that are very similar to them,
Yeah,
like very similar.
yeah, because they do exist. They're pretty, and I think this would be a
established.
cool origin story for them, and it would just be. But I don't think any of them have the spider-like powers unless they decide to.
No, I think all of their powers are just very different.
They all have something different, or they all just use tech that they're just all spider themed because their main character, because their boss is Madam Web. It's just clever. It might be cheesy and lame, but that's her name. I think that would be better that they're just like these spies and they just work with it, and it would be insane for them to meet Peter one day, and it's like they're scared because they think he's another Ezekiel.
Yeah.
And I think that would be cool though if Ezekiel lived and he's like, well, I need you to defeat this mob boss. She's this evil. And he twists the story. He says this woman was trying to become like the Aranyas.
The Aranyas.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Twist the story with Peter. It failed her. She became blind. She lost everything. It did not work for her. She became vengeful. She has these 3 women who are out to get me.
She can see the future.
She can see the future, and she has been hunting me down ever since because I got bit as well, Peter, just like you. And you're like, woo. I would love to see Ezekiel. I would not have this actor.
That could be. I agree. At first, I kind of thought that it was, what's his name? Plays Ben Solo in Star Wars. Kylo Ren.
Adam Ryder?
Adam
Driver.
Adam Driver.
Oh my gosh,
It
Adam
looked-
Driver would be
He'd
kind
do
of
okay.
cool. I think he'd be okay.
It looked like Adam Driver. In a lot of scenes, he looks like Adam Driver, and I thought it was. And I think Adam Driver, if he could get past the angsty, super serious, super cliche, that he does in every role
You need
that
to
he
watch
plays.
Logan Lucky. Because
Okay.
he's in it, and he's this hick with one hand, and his brother is Channing Tatum. One of my favorite movies, and it's got Daniel Craig himself, James
Mm-hmm.
Bond, as a blue-eyed hick boy who is just, and he's a genius, but it's just,
If we could get an Adam Driver who isn't Kylo Ren.
I think I would also, I think I would put in, you know who I'd put in? You might not know him, but he is, you've seen Warrior, correct?
Yes.
Tommy's brother.
Okay. That would work.
I think Tommy's brother would be awesome. And it would be funny if him and Tom Hardy met up as, because
Pedro Pascal could work too.
no,
I kind of want to see Pedro
no,
Pascal in
put it away.
evil role.
No, I'm sick of him right now.
Yeah,
but I
that's
love
fair.
him. But I'm sick of him. He's great.
He's a good actor.
He's already Mr. Fantastic, and I want to give him a chance.
Oh, that's true. That's
So-
true. I forgot about that.
But I think the brother, I can't remember his name because I watched it recently in the boat movie, the rowing team, the U.S. rowing team. Great, it was wonderful. I teared up. But I love Warrior. I think he would be awesome as that. I think he could be awesome. I can imagine him sitting with Andrew, across from Andrew, just in a suit, staring at him. Why are you wearing your shoes? I don't like shoes. No suit.
I think that could be a good third Amazing Spider-Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
And halfway through the movie, Peter realizes, meets Madame Web and realizes that she's one of the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all go after Ezekiel together.
Well, maybe I'll have to do that.
Could be kind of cool.
It's a lot because I'm trying to implement. I was trying to implement Venom, so if I need to try to do that, it might be.
We are Venom.
We are Venom, and I know we need to do Let There Be Carnage someday. Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Sony, you're letting me down, but you're giving me so much fun movie ideas. One other thing to add, I think this is the last thing I would say, is I would want to see her, because some people might think that last fight was lame, that she was just blocking stuff, but she wasn't blocking stuff. I full on believe that her and the girls had died many times, or at least she had seen it many, many times. Mm-hmm. And I would want to see that progress a lot better.
I think for any of you, and we kind of
Mentioned
briefly
it.
talked about this, for any of you who have read Mistborn and are familiar with Atium and its power of being able to see a few seconds into the future, and it increases and it enhances your ability to react. I think the way that Brandon Sanderson has so masterfully built that power and given it such good description of how it functions. My all-time favorite scene that utilizes Atium is
Spoilers.
when Vin is fighting Zane.
Yep.
That is
We'll leave it at that.
That is my favorite.
We'll leave it at that.
For those
Fabulous.
of you who know, you know.
For those of you who don't know, read the books.
Read the books. They are worth reading.
I love the idea of having foresight. Mm-hmm. And my question is, I think I missed it. How did she lose the ability to walk? I didn't see when she got hit.
I don't know.
So I really
I think it was just when she hit the water.
I would want a Bane moment. I'm sorry. I want him to, be angry with her.
I don't want a Bane.
No, I don't want like breaking over.
Here's what I want. I want her to fall as well, because she does. But I want her to hit the water as pieces of debris have hit the water, and she just breaks her back on some of that debris,
Well, I want Ezekiel
and
to
then she
either.
sinks down with it.
I want Ezekiel to either take her sight or take her legs. So which one do you want? I want him to
You can
take
take
one.
her legs, I guess,
Okay.
because I do like how she lost her sight.
I think it works because
Or-
I think I would have her get hit before she's in the water because
Mm-hmm.
that's like a 1 in a. I think even though she has this foresight, I think when all these fireworks are coming, and even though she has this ability, she's trying to move and dodge stuff, it's overwhelming, and she still
Mm-hmm.
gets hit because she's not perfect. I would want her to get hit, and then I would want her to be kind of stumbling, but yet she's still kind of dodging him, and we could see her slowly losing her sight, almost like a daredevil sort of thing. But I would want him to. I don't think. Maybe she just gets crushed. Maybe he falls. She's dodging stuff, and she's tricking him. She's guiding him, blocking everything, and we can even see a few times she gets hit. He picks up something, smacks her head, like right before it hits her head. It shows her dodging it the next time, if that makes sense. And then finally, we see her lead it, and that S falls, crushes her, breaks in half, falls with him.
I like it. I think that's good.
Instead of the swinging, which I know you didn't like, but because if they're both under that thing and the whole thing comes crumbling down, and he tries to jump or anything, it would be cool. Even if when he tries to jump out of the way, like out to the lake, she grabs his feet, and that's what causes her to get stuck. Something like that, to be like, you're not leaving, I've got you. He gets trapped, he gets crushed.
And it could be a choice. Maybe she's able to see if she does this, she loses her legs, and she knows that's what's happening. That's what's going to happen.
We can even see like the two paths in front of her, sort of thing.
And she decides to just stop him because he's a menace.
He's a menace. I want pictures of Ezekiel and his feet.
Oh
No, but
edit that out.
No, that was funny. I probably will. But so dies. Yes or no?
Yes,
You want him?
I think he dies.
You're on the team of dead Ezekiel.
I think so. Unless we're doing the Andrew Garfield story where he manipulates Peter and Peter meets them, and then they together, all 5 spider people, end up killing Ezekiel.
Okay,
I think that could work
I can maybe work with that.
if that's the route we go. Otherwise I think he dies here.
Okay, and I think that's fine. It
I
is
think-
a lot.
Well, and here's another thing. We saw, it was, honestly, when he fell, it was only like his stomach down that got crushed. And I'm like, he survived a lot worse than that. He
got hit
survived
by
getting hit
3 cars.
by 3 cars, etc. If he's gonna get crushed by that thing, I want his hand, the classic cliche, his hand is the only thing sticking out. And we see it kind of move a little, twitch a little bit, and then go limp. It's very cliche, but I think it works better.
You want it to be like a shock factor, like it's bad, like ooh, you can see it moving, you think it's gonna grab the edge of it, and it just thumps down. Okay. All right, I will think about if I can imply them. If not, then we'll just say that I would also imply if this isn't Peter Parker with Andrew Garfield, I still like the cute scene with Peter, but I also will take the scene with Peter being born. I'll go for it either way. I just think that
The scene with him being born is kind of nice.
It is nice.
Kind of cute. If we're not going Andrew Garfield, we'll have Peter be born, and then it's Tom Holland, or a fourth.
or Timothy Chalamet. He's my secret Peter. He's a good actor. I really thought he was overrated, but watching Wonka, watching Dune,
He's a good actor.
he's really good.
Does a good job.
I really want him and Tom to play brothers.
I think they would do great as siblings in the movie.
Gosh, like twin brothers. Like not identical, but just twin brothers. Or even Tim being older or the vice versa, don't care. Tim and Tom, it's right there. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And he's already good friends with Zendaya. Whatever. With that being said, I would love to have the end just a simple line of either Ben says, I think Ben already having that line would be awesome, and him saying that to her, or
I think she says it to him. As here we go. I got it.
okay,
Ben and Peter walk into the hospital room, and
Peter
and Ben explains that Mary's just passed away, and Cassie's kind of, she cries, she's sad, and we get a vision of an older Ben. We don't hear him say anything, we just see his face, and we cut back, and she says to him, you'll be a good role model for him. With great power comes great responsibility. And then,
oh no,
anything. And I think that would be cute.
it could be really recent. You're right. Could be.
Because I think that would fit.
I think at the beginning of the movie, Ben mentions that, what's new is like Ben is mentioning like I am, terrified because I have to take care of my new nephew. It's been a few months. No, and that's it. That's all we have to hear. Mm-hmm. Maybe they have the EMS scene of her falling in the lake, and Ben. First and foremost, no CPR scenes. I do appreciate the CPR, but just...
I can agree with that.
No, I think Ben should be the one saving her at the end, at least. It's them. The girls have drug her out, and it could have been implied that they... Tried.
Until they got there.
It just shows Ben... I don't know. At least the girls... It just shows the girls trying. I don't think they should have had like a whole scene of them teaching. Maybe one girl already knows it. I feel like Sydney Sweeney's character, or even I think it was Maddie, the rich one, the rich girl. I feel like she would be like, my parents made me learn this, and then she starts learning it, something like that. Or Anya did. I feel like all of them had an excuse to, in some way.
I feel like Anya's character is a little bit underrated.
I feel like Anya would definitely know CPR.
I think she would be the one to do it.
No CPR.
She'd be the one to know.
And she could be talking through it at least. Maybe a scene like that. I just don't think...
It's just a couple seconds.
A couple seconds.
Maybe 30 seconds from Cassie pulled out of the water. They do CPR. Ben shows up, finishes CPR.
It could show... So Cassie... Julia's the one that... Because she dove in. Julia saves her in the water. Or, wait, no, we don't make her fall in.
You're right. Julia finds her.
Yeah, maybe they don't...
Maddie calls 911, and Anya does CPR.
Oh, they probably are.
'Cause that's
paramedics that way.
Yeah, that is how you're supposed to do it, too. You're supposed to have... Everybody's supposed to have a different role.
Someone's doing CPR. Someone is calling, and someone is guiding the EMS. Yep, man, the lifeguard days are just coming back.
My days as a merit badge instructor and my dad teaching me CPR all the time. And
oh, you weren't certified in your...
Oh, I've been certified a couple times. Okay. More than a couple.
But you were certified at your last job, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think that's really about it. Mm-hmm. I think if we could have hit some key points, a few things better, I think the story would be just made a lot more fun. It would have been a lot more interesting. I feel like keeping the ominous tone would have been awesome. I think Ezekiel just dressed up, doesn't care, doing whatever he wants and attacking the girls in those certain scenes is fine. He's just killing everyone. Fine with it that way.
You'll appreciate this analogy. Like a good beard, it's got to be kept trimmed.
Yeah.
We needed to trim some of those scenes up a little bit to make it look nice and crisp.
I don't think Ezekiel should have a suit. That's all I gotta say. I thought it was really weird.
It was weird too.
It was too much
if he had, if we saw a connection to Oscorp, I could see him having a suit.
Or just, I don't know. I just,
The rich man, I think maybe like just like a button-up shirt is all he needs. He doesn't need a suit.
yeah. Supposed to be this wealthy businessman, and it would be, it's just, I just find it so funny that in this world that is built around this iconic character, you can look around my apartment right now and you will find Spider-Man somewhere. I think so. Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
Point being, this could have been a good side. I feel like it could have
Good
brought
side
something
story.
great. I think it would have been a great origin story for Madam Web and her little Charlie's Angels.
And I will admit, it was okay.
It was better than
It was okay. It was better than we both
it
expected.
It was, but we lowered them really low.
Yeah. We expected it to be hot garbage, and it was cold garbage. It wasn't hot garbage.
But I'm pretty satisfied with my healthcare, Tim. That was not really. I need better healthcare. Well, actually, I'm gonna get a new job, so I'll be fine. Anyway, point being, I'm glad we did another movie. Maybe we'll do another one next week.
Yeah.
I definitely got the gears going for my original Spider-Man story, but maybe next week we'll hit up another one. Maybe we'll hit up Carnage, or we'll find something else. But yeah, thanks everybody.
Yeah. And until next time, as always, love each other, be kind. Remember that with great responsibility.
Wow.
Cut it, edit, blah, blah, blah. With great power comes great responsibility. And even without great power, we all have responsibility.
Aw.
And until next time, we'll see you later, pitches.
Bye.